Amazing news! At Titans Debate League is now looking for interns. We are expanding our team and seeking driven individuals who are ready to make an impact. We're on the hunt for talented people to join our marketing team, a charismatic new host, and creative minds who can produce amazing content. If you have a positive attitude and are used to winning, because that's what we do here, then we want to hear from you. Join us and contribute to a culture of excellence and success here at Titans Debate League. Email us today, titansdebateleague@gmail.com. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Where Infinity Gauntlet is a mere toy compared to the intellectual prowess build and destroy the cipher. Intellectual sword to slice you, or whatever device you recommend. Surgical precise pen, hand get heated, the room will spin. If man get treated, them goals gon' spin. Level heads with feet, paradigm the box you in. Got a pair of red dimes in the box you in. Don't matter paradigms, your clock won't spin. Hear the sounds of the trumpets, start the rounds in the gauntlet. Get down or lay down when we're stopping. It's the clash of the Tigers. Hear the sounds of the trumpets, start the rounds in the gauntlet. Get down or lay down when we storming. It's the clash of the Titans. Hear the sounds of the trumpets, start the rounds in the gauntlet. Get down or lay down when we storming. It's the clash of the Titans. It's the clash of the Titans.
Who you talking to? Who said what? Who told who? Who built the frame that you looking through? Who you talking to? Talking timeless while you speaking in sequence too. If it ain't coherent, it collapse on cue. Who you talking to? Who said that? Who told you existence started? Run that back. Every worldview crack where the pressure at. Who you talking to? Who you talking to? Who said what? Who taught who? Who built the frame that you looking through? Who you talking to? Talking timeless while you speaking in sequence too. If it ain't coherent, it collapse on cue. Who you talking to? Who said that? Who told you existence started? Run that back. Every worldview crack where the pressure at. Yeah. Who you talking to? Every line of treasure you only find in the mind, my mind. And you know I work in the mines. I don't charge a dime for you to stay out of mine. 2 times, we on time. Every line got another line, hiding behind the line. You hearing bars, I'm hearing structure and design. You hear a punchline, I hear ontology align. Who said reality started? Talking outside existence while existing to argue. Smuggling sequence in your sentence unconsciously. And call it timeless when I ask what the process be. Who you talking about? Half these worldviews fall when you walk them out. Everybody got answers till you chalk it out. Incoherence disappear when you map it out. I studied Heraclitus flowing rivers in motion. Parmenides froze it, I can see both in the ocean. Can't build a frame, but the frame still folded. Trying to define the world while the mind still holding it. Aristotle looking for causes and categories. Nietzsche killed guys, but couldn't kill reality. Heidegger staring into being and anxiety. I'm just asking what makes existence intelligibly. Who you talking to? Talking timeless while you speaking in sequence too. If it ain't coherent, it collapse on cue. Who you talking to? Who said what? Who built the worldview that you standing on? Everybody sounding deep to the ladder gone. And they looking real nervous when the pattern drawn. I slept these haters in they face with this one. Wait, I missed one. 2 times. We on time. Every line of gem they only find in the mind, my mind. You know I work in the mines, digging through mines while I'm digging through mine. Blue collar philosopher, coffee cup thinker, still plotting possible worlds while the clock getting thinner. Whole room talking loud, I just watch and consider, cause the loudest in the room usually know the least in it. Who taught you that? Who said existence got a border where the proof at? Who talking outside reality and still attached? Using logic from existence just to move back. That's incoherent. I ain't even gotta raise my tone. I just let the contradiction sit there on its own. People wanna skip structure just to chase the throne. Till the worldview collapse and they standing there alone. They want a war record. I gave them world pressure. Every verse another hidden room in the architecture. Every line another layer underneath the texture. You hear rhythm, I hear systems trying to fit together, and I ain't culturally inappropriate, intellectually inappropriate, I'm coherently inappropriate, yeah. You hate the conclusion, but the structure still hold. That's why the room get quiet when the logic unfolds. Who you talking to? Talking time, that's why you speaking in sequence too. If it ain't coherent, it collapse on cue. Who you talking to? Who said that? Who taught you existence started? Run that back. Every worldview crack where the pressure at. Who you talking to? OLEE on a late night broadcast. Hourglass eye, watching timelines cross paths. Earth in the other eye, both sides balance. Nature and time, that's the code in the canvas. No wings, still.
What up, though? You know who it is. It's your boy Olee. OLEE. I'm the L. This is the only logical explanation for existence. And this is the only world logic. Today we're talking about the mechanics of existence. And I'll be talking about my definitions and why your everyday dictionary just ain't enough to explain the questions that we're looking for within existence. When we talk about quantum onlyism, we say that existence is driven by 2 necessary conditions, time and nature. But the moment I say that, people run their standard dictionary definitions and get confused. They think time means the clock on the wall. They think nature means trees and grass and camping. But in my view, we know the ledge. We deal with the mechanics. And we strip all those shallow definitions and look at the actual functions of the things we're talking about. Time is not just a clock. A clock is just a tool we built to measure time. In this framework, time, what we call phi-t, is ordered update. It is sequence, it is change, transition, and the flow of before and after. Without time, nothing happens. It is the when in reality. And nature is not just a force. Nature, we call Mona, is form. Its structure, its boundary, the identity of each individual tree, and the difference of a tree from the ocean, and the constraint of those things that make it individual. It's the laws of physics. It's the geometry of reality. It's the pattern of matter and energy. Without nature, nothing is anything. It is what reality is. So we're going to stop bringing definition word games to a function mechanic debate. You can throw away the clock, but you can't escape the sequence that the clock is measuring. You can pave over the forest, but you cannot escape the structure that time and nature are the floor of this reality. And so today, we're going to try to run that for you. So you can get it.
For thousands of years, we've stared at the sky and asked the ultimate question: why is there something rather than nothing, and what caused it? To answer that, humanity formed a habit of looking outside of existence for a supernatural creator. We assume that reality is a built object, requiring a builder to assemble it from afar. This assumption creates a paradox. If a creator made reality, what created the creator? The chain never ends, leading an infinite regress that explains nothing. To break the loop, we must stop looking outside and look inside the mechanics of the universe itself. We are not going to invent new mystical concepts to solve this. We are not going to move the goalposts. Instead, we are running a definitional audit. We will take the strict, scientifically accepted definitions of existence, time, and nature and follow them directly to their logical endpoints. This audit starts with a single observation. The answer may not be hidden in a supernatural zone, but built into the relationship between the primitives we already acknowledge. Let's start with time. Strip away your mental image of a ticking clock. A clock is a physical tool we use for measurement. It is not time itself. This diagram shows the operational definition of time. Time is ordered update. It is the raw sequence of before and after, and the engine of occurrence. Now look at nature. Strip away the mental image of trees, animals, or rolling landscapes. In its strictest mechanical sense, nature is structural constraint. It is boundary, form, and identity. It is the framework that allows anything to be specific rather than undefined potential. Put ordered update and structural constraint together, and you get existence. It is simply the state of affairs that obtains when these two primitives operate simultaneously. Time and nature are not physical objects floating around inside the universe. They are the mandatory engine and structural framework required for reality to exist at all. To prove this, we run an intelligibility test. We ask what happens if we subtract one of these two foundational elements. First, remove time. Remove the ordered update. Without time, nothing can happen or change. The universe becomes a frozen photograph. Now, put time back, but remove nature. Remove the structural constraint. Without nature, boundaries vanish. There is no distinction, leaving only unintelligible chaos. Reality does not pop into being from absolute nothing. It shifts and forms through the constant, ongoing interaction of sequence and boundary. Because a knowable reality requires both forces, existence is not a built object. It is the inevitable consequence of ordered update and structural constraint operating together. If sequence and structure are the non-negotiable floor of any reality, they also provide the full set of conditions for complexity to emerge. Once you have a temporal update interacting with a structural constraint, you have everything required for events, systems, and life to become possible. No supernatural third ingredient is required at the foundation. When ancient civilizations looked at the universe, they accurately observed this powerful union. But lacking the vocabulary of physics, they misidentified it as a personified deity, translating cosmic mechanics into mythology. We are not destroying the concept of a highest power. We are grounding it in actual, observable mechanics. The highest functional power is the union of time and nature itself. This framework allows us to replace blind belief with mechanical recognition. It bridges the gap between rigorous scientific logic and profound existential meaning. The wonder of the universe hasn't been stripped away. Instead, the focus has shifted from asking what built existence to recognizing what sustains it. Existence does not demand belief in the supernatural. It demands the recognition that time makes change possible, nature makes structure possible, and together they make absolutely everything possible.
Attention all debate fans. You've been watching, you've been arguing, you've been picking sides. But now it's time to level up. From this point forward, all debates on this platform are going members only. That means the hottest clashes, the wildest arguments, and your favorite personalities going head to head will only be available to subscribers. You want real scholarship, you want the smoke, you want the unfiltered action, then don't get left outside looking in. Sign up today for as low as $3.99 and get full access to every debate, every moment, every knockout argument. This is Titans Debate League, where legends are made and debates get real. Join now or miss out.
For thousands of years, humans have looked at the sheer scale of the cosmos and felt an instinctive need to explain it. But instead of mapping the machine, we often took our own image, blew it up to cosmic proportions, and pasted a supernatural creator over the unknown to account for the mechanics. Believing in these myths requires a specific type of cognitive dissonance. We claim a creator built the universe from an outside of existence. But the moment we use that phrase, logic breaks. If a place is truly outside of existence, it possesses no properties, no location, and no capacity to act. To function as an explanation, a claim must be intelligible. Relying on an undefinable outside provides no actual information. It is decorative fog used to hide a gap in our understanding. We can do better than contradictory magic. Understanding reality requires us to audit the actual, observable mechanics that allow anything to exist in the first place. Quantum-onlyism provides a clinical, foundational audit of reality. It functions as a logical filter, stripping away assumptions to see what remains. This process uses a challenge called the Only Six, a series of questions that systematically strip away superstition by forcing us to define our terms with total honesty. The audit begins with two baseline questions. Do you agree that existence is real? And do you agree that reality is intelligible, meaning we can distinguish differences and make true or false claims about it? If you answer no to either, the debate is over. Even a claim that reality is an illusion requires an intelligible structure to be stated. Without that baseline, communication itself is impossible. Admitting that reality is understandable creates a requirement for every claim that follows. Any explanation for our origins must survive the test of being logically consistent and observable. This admission sets a trap. If reality is intelligible, we are no longer allowed to appeal to mystery when our supernatural narratives start falling apart. Questions 3 and 4 identify the two fundamental conditions required for anything to be knowable. For a system to exist, it needs both constraint and update. First, there is constraint. To identify an object, it must have a boundary, a structure, and a set of laws that keep it from dissolving. We refer to this functional requirement as nature. Second, there is ordered update. For any event to happen, you need sequence. You need a way to distinguish before from after. We refer to this functional requirement as time. If you remove time, reality becomes a frozen, dead snapshot where nothing can ever happen. If you remove nature, the world becomes an undefined blur with no identity or form. This proves that time and nature are not optional accessories. They are the non-negotiable functional floor required for any world to obtain. Questions 5 and 6 apply this logic to the traditional God concept. If a creator performs an action or makes a choice, that act requires a sequence. It happens through time. Furthermore, for an agent to have the capacity to build, think, or relate to anything, it must have a specific identity and form. It must operate under the constraints of its own nature. The moment you claim a supernatural agent did anything, you are admitting that they are subordinate to time and nature. They are using the very mechanics required for existence to function. If every possible act requires sequence and structure, then those conditions are more fundamental than any being that uses them. Before we can imagine a person in the sky, we must first have the mechanics that allow a person or a universe to be. We replace creation from nothing with the observable process of formation. This is reality, patterns emerging through the interaction of form and sequence. The universe functions as a self-sustaining system discovering its own balance. Complexity, life, and consciousness are the natural outcomes of these mechanics over time. The intentional deities of our history were personified labels we placed over these functions before we had the tools to describe them accurately. Mapping these mechanics doesn't diminish the cosmos. It replaces fragile stories with an understanding of what is actually there, deepening our appreciation for the machine we are part of. This audit leads to a vital shift. We are moving away from passive belief in a supernatural narrative and toward the active recognition of functional reality. The ultimate axiom is simple. Nothing exists outside existence. We can stop looking in an imaginary void and start recognizing the conditions that sustain us. By recognizing the union of time and nature, we stop fighting against the logic of our own reality. We finally align our understanding with the core mechanics that make every real event possible.
Listen up, Titan family. The Coliseum of Arguments is officially opening the vaults, and this is your chance to win a piece of league history. We're running a massive high-stakes t-shirt raffle, and these are not your average tees. We're talking ultra-exclusive, limited edition, premium custom apparel that you can't buy anywhere else. Once they're gone forever. We're keeping the stakes high and the odds completely in your favor. Here's how it goes down. Tickets are only $2. The limit, $40 or 20 tickets per person to keep the playing field fair. The odds, we're picking a brand new winner for every 20 tickets sold. Think about the math. If you max out your 20 tickets, you are essentially guaranteeing a crowd milestone and forcing a new drawing. The more tickets moving, the more winners we crown back to back. Are you a $3.99 channel member? Then we've already got your back. As a thank you for holding down the foundation, every single $3.99 member is automatically getting one free ticket entered into the raffle. But don't just rely on that one ticket. Secure your stack, maximize your odds, and ensure your name gets called. These custom designs, from the legendary Debate or Die print to the official Titans Debate League emblems, are strictly limited edition. You don't want to be sitting in the chat watching everyone else flaunt their exclusive gear while you missed out over a $2 ticket. How to enter? Open up your Cash App. Send your entry to $Titans Debate League. Put your name/handle in the notes so we know exactly who to crown. The clock is ticking, the tickets are moving, and the next 20 ticket milestone is closing fast. Lock your entries in now and claim your crown. Winners picked this Friday. Are you not entertained?
Picture this. You walk into a massive, totally packed auditorium.
Okay, I am picturing it.
Right. And down on the stage, there is this incredibly fierce debate going on. On one side, you have a staunch traditionalist arguing passionately that, a supernatural creator built the universe from the outside looking in.
Like looking down into a fishbowl or something.
Exactly, yeah. And then on the other side, you have a firm materialist arguing just as passionately that everything is just random, chaotic matter. Like no higher order, no structure, and definitely no underlying purpose.
Right, just a total cosmic accident.
Yes. And they are going back and forth, completely deadlocked, caught up in this tug of war that human beings have literally been having for centuries.
I mean, usually when we watch those kinds of debates, we unconsciously pick a side. We focus all our attention on the tension of the rope,
But what if someone walked onto that stage, completely ignored the rope, and just pointed down at the floor?
Go to floor.
Yeah. A floor that neither debater is even talking about, but both of them are completely relying on just to have a platform to stand on in the first place.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is actually the perfect visualization for what we are looking at today, because we are diving into a framework that attempts to completely reframe the battleground itself.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are looking at a really fascinating stack of sources for you. It is a collection of philosophical white papers, manuscripts, and debate protocols authored by Jermaine Darnell Nugent.
Who also goes by the acronym TOP.
Right, exactly. And this entire body of work outlines this highly structured, totally logic-driven framework called quantum onlyism. So, our mission for this deep dive is to explore this really bold worldview that attempts to completely bypass the traditional clash between religion and atheism.
Yeah, and it's important to note that it isn't trying to prove the religious side right and the atheist side wrong, or vice versa.
Not at all.
Instead, the author is attempting to identify the mechanical functional floor of reality itself using just pure logic.
And specifically, we are going to dissect a very clinical, live ready debate trap that the author calls the only six.
Oh, this part is so good.
It really is. It's a sequence of questions designed to prove the absolute necessity of two things, time and nature.
Right.
So whether you are a philosopher, a skeptic, or just someone, trying to understand how reality functions, this deep dive is going to challenge how you think about existence. It challenges how you define concepts like God and even the very words you use to argue your own beliefs.
And we should probably remind everyone right up front as we go through this, We aren't taking sides or endorsing any specific religious, political, or atheist viewpoints.
Yes, absolutely. We're just impartially unpacking the mechanics of this incredibly intricate framework based strictly on the source material.
Just reporting what's there.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this. And I think we should start right at the foundation.
Yeah, so the foundational starting point is what the framework calls the only axiom. It is the core rule of quantum onlyism, and it literally just states nothing exists outside existence.
Nothing exists outside existence. I mean, at first glance, that almost sounds too obvious.
Right.
Like it's just a tautology. Obviously, outside of existence, there is no existence.
It does sound obvious, yet the implications completely dismantle how most people think about reality.
Really? How so?
Well, the framework implies what it calls the no outside rule or the closure principle. Just think about how traditional creation stories work.
Okay.
They almost always assume a creator who exists outside of reality,
Mhm.
right? Like in some kind of void, who then acts upon that void to make reality.
Yeah, the guy in the clouds building the earth.
Exactly. But quantum onlyism argues that this concept is logically incoherent.
Okay, so if we strip away the outside creator, we are basically just left with a massive void.
Yeah.
So, what is actually powering this formation from the inside?
Well, that's the thing. Because if an external creator does anything at all, if they act, if they think, if they create, they have to use a sequence of events, right?
Oh, I see. There has to be a before the creation and an after the creation.
Exactly. And they also have to have a specific identity. They have to be a creator, not just empty space.
Okay, so if an entity acts, it must use sequence. And sequence is basically time.
Right. And if an entity has identity or structure, it must use form. And form is nature.
Wait, really? So any being that thinks or acts is already utilizing time in nature.
Yes, they are completely dependent on those conditions to do literally anything, which means they're not actually outside at all. They're operating inside the mechanics of existence.
Wow, okay, that totally flips the script. Instead of the traditional view of creation, which, feels a bit like a magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat from some mysterious external void.
Yeah, very much so.
Quantum onlyism says we need to look at reality more like watching a lake freeze into ice over winter. Like the ice isn't being created from nothing by a magician, it is forming.
Yes, exactly. It is formation, not creation. It is a phase shift driven by internal conditions that are already present.
Right. So formation relies entirely on the conditions that are already native to the system.
And according to this framework, the two necessary conditions required for anything to be intelligible or, real are time and nature. And the text actually uses very specific functional terms for them, Fatih and Mona.
Fati and Mona. Let's break those down because honestly, they aren't what you might typically think of when you hear those words. I mean, Father Time and Mother Nature sound like characters from a children's fairy tale.
Yeah, they really do. But we have to strip away the mythology here. Fatih stands for Father Time, sure, but it is not an old man with a scythe, and it is definitely not a clock ticking on the wall.
Okay, then what is it?
Fatih represents ordered update. It is sequence, change, duration, causality, and like the flow of
I
possibility.
hear update. Okay.
Yeah, it is the fundamental function of when and how things transition from one state to another.
That makes a lot of sense. And then we have Mona.
Right, Mona stands for Mother Nature. But again, this isn't about trees and rivers and animals in a purely biological sense.
So no hugging trees here.
No, not exactly. Mona is constraint, form, structure, pattern, boundary, and identity.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It is the geometric and logical boundary that allows anything to be this specific thing rather than that specific thing. It is basically the function of what?
So if you have change and sequence, you have Fati. And if you have form and structure, you have Mona.
Exactly. And the sources argue that you literally cannot have a reality without both of them operating
They
together.
are the absolute non negotiable floor of existence.
Yes.
Now, it is one thing for us to sit here and define these terms. It's a really elegant concept on paper, but it is a completely different thing to prove that these two functions are the absolute baseline of all reality.
Very true.
Like, how do you actually corner a hardened skeptic into admitting that Fati and Mona are the foundation of everything?
And that is exactly where the practical application of this philosophy comes in.
Hmm.
The framework doesn't just ask you to believe this on faith, it attempts to force you to acknowledge it through inescapable logic.
Which brings us to the ultimate philosophical trap, the only six. The author describes this as a clinical, live ready debate protocol. So let's actually test this. I will play the stubborn opponent and you walk me through the trap. Let's see if I can find a way out.
Oh, I love this. Let's try it. So the protocol starts with a gatekeeper question. Question 1. Do you agree Existence is real.
Well, sure. That is a freebie. I exist, you exist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if you had said no, claiming reality is just an illusion and nothing actually exists, the debate ends immediately.
Oh, really? It stops.
Yeah, because you can't logically argue with someone who says reality isn't real because their own argument wouldn't be real either.
That is a very fair point. Okay, so since I said yes, what's next?
We move to question 2. Do you agree reality is intelligible? Meaning, can we make true or false claims and distinguish differences between things?
Yes, of course. I can distinguish a table from a chair. Reality can be understood and categorized.
Okay, now the trap starts to close. Question 3. For that intelligibility to happen, do we need both update and constraint?
Wait, meaning what exactly?
Meaning, for you to understand anything, must something sequence or change, and must something have form or structure?
Hang on, I can hear a skeptic right now saying, I don't need constraint. Or maybe they say, I don't need update. Like, what happens if we just toss constraint out the window? Do I really need it?
Well, what's fascinating here is what happens when you run that exact thought experiment. Let's remove constraint first.
Okay, taking away the form.
Right, remove all structure, form, boundary, and identity.
Mm.
What happens to your reality? There are no objects. There is no difference between you and the chair. Everything just bleeds into everything else.
Oh, so it is just infinite, empty, homogeneous noise.
Exactly. You wouldn't even have the biological boundary of a brain or vocal cords to make an argument. To even form the thought, I disagree, you need a boundary between the concept of I and the concept of disagree.
Okay, wow, that makes perfect sense. A thought requires a structure. So what about update? What if I try to reject sequence?
If you remove update, you remove all sequence and change. Reality becomes entirely frozen in a single immobile frame.
Like hitting pause on a movie.
Yes. There are no actions, no causation, no movement. More importantly, cognitive processes stop entirely. You couldn't form the cognitive sequence required to process a sentence, let alone argue against the concept of update.
Because arguing is a process,
Yeah.
it takes time, it requires a sequence of words.
Exactly.
So, as the opponent, I am forced to agree. Yes, reality needs both update and constraint. I'm locked in. But wait, does that automatically mean I have just admitted to time and nature existing?
Yes.
Because I can totally see skeptics getting highly defensive if you start using capitalized words like time and nature.
And that is exactly why the protocol defines the functions first before applying the labels. You have already agreed to the functions. So question 4 simply asks, do you agree the operational requirement for update in sequence is time, what the framework calls fati?
Well, I can't really say no to that. Sequence before and after that is practically the dictionary definition of time.
Right. And question 5 mirrored it. Do you agree the operational requirement for constraint and form is nature, what the framework calls mona?
Yes, I mean, form, structure, physical boundaries, that is the definition of nature in this context.
Which leads us to the final checkmate question. Question 6. Can existence still be possible if time is absent or if nature is absent?
And if I try to say yes, I assume you're just going to ask me for an example.
I will simply say, give me one coherent example of something existing without sequence or existing without form.
Which is completely impossible. Any example I try to give will automatically use words that imply structure, and the actual act of me giving the example uses sequence.
Yes. The immediate conclusion of these 6 questions is a state the framework calls togetherness.
Togetherness.
Yeah. The opponent has just admitted on their own terms what the baseline floor of reality is. Time and nature are non-optional. Their co-presence is the minimal condition for existence.
Here's where it gets really interesting. To summarize how brilliant this trap is, it's basically like someone using their vocal cords and a deep breath of air to loudly yell at you that vocal cords and air do not exist.
That is the perfect analogy.
Because in order to argue against time and nature, you have to actively use time and nature. You literally cannot escape the floor you are standing on.
And traditional debates often fail because they skip the floor entirely, right? They argue about the complex architecture of morality or origin or random chance without first establishing the underlying physics of how an argument even takes place.
Wow, yeah.
The only 6 forces everyone, regardless of their background, back to the exact same starting line.
Okay, so what does this all mean? We have established togetherness, this baseline presence of time and nature. We have physics and time. But how does this framework move from a basic mechanical definition of reality to something that actually replaces traditional majestic concepts of God?
Well, the also introduces an add-on concept for exactly this purpose. After an opponent has conceded the only 6, you spring what the text calls the seventh law question.
The seventh law. Okay, how does that work?
You ask, do you agree there are degrees of coherence? Like, are there more coherent and less coherent ways a system can operate?
I mean, clearly, a healthy biological body is obviously more coherent than a sick body. A stable planetary orbit is more coherent than a crashing meteor.
Right. And if a person says no to that, they lose the ability to acknowledge the difference between order and chaos,
Mm.
or even accuracy and error.
So they basically have to say yes.
Exactly.
App
And that leads to the final conclusion of the entire framework union.
union. Tell me about that.
If there are degrees of coherence, then there must logically be a peak state, the state where time and nature operate together in their maximal possible coherence,
Okay.
where sequence and structure are perfectly seamlessly aligned. That state is the highest power. That is union. It is Fadi and Mona operating as one flawless, self-sustaining system.
I feel like this is where the framework makes its most controversial and honestly, perhaps its most profound translation of historical ideas.
Totally. The author argues that throughout history, human beings intuitively sensed this maximal coherence, this union. They felt the underlying order of the universe.
Right.
But because humans are natural storytellers, they personified it. They put a human face on a mechanical function.
They called it a supernatural god, like a king or a judge sitting on a throne.
Exactly. Quantum onlyism basically strips away the mythic costume. It says God and goddess are just functional titles for time and nature in perfect union.
That is wild.
Yeah, they aren't people in the sky making emotional decisions. They are the underlying, inescapable mechanics of existence itself.
So let's bring this down to earth for you, the listener. If the universe isn't run by a supernatural judge handing out rewards and punishments, but by this vast mechanical consequence of time and nature, how do we actually live our lives?
That is the big question.
Does this framework just lead to a cold, robotic, meaningless existence where nothing matters?
The sources actually argue the exact opposite. By removing the supernatural element, the framework shifts the entire human experience from belief to recognition.
Recognition. Okay, what does that mean in practice?
It means you don't have to force yourself to believe in an invisible entity. You simply have to recognize how the system functions and align your actions with it.
But how does that actually affect morality? If there is no divine rule book and no threat of cosmic punishment, what stops people from just acting selfishly and doing whatever they want?
This is where quantum onlyism introduces the concept of ethics as coherence technology.
Coherence technology.
Yeah, morality isn't about obeying a set of arbitrary rules written in an ancient text. It's about systems logic. It's about maintaining equilibrium within a closed system.
Interesting.
The framework states this really profound maxim: you don't pray for balance, you are the balance.
Wait, I love that. Can you give me a real world example of how that works? How does coherence technology operate in everyday life without a rule book?
Sure. So, under this view, harm, what traditional religions might call sin, is simply incoherence. It is the act of introducing unnecessary friction or distortion into a shared system. Because the system of Fatih and Mona is a closed loop, actions have mechanical feedback. This is referred to as the law of return.
The law of return.
Right. Imagine a small community sharing a single water supply. If one person decides to dump toxins into the water out of selfishness, they aren't breaking a supernatural rule. They are literally introducing incoherence into the physical system.
And because they also rely on that water supply, the friction they introduced mechanically bounces back to them. I mean, they eventually drink the toxic water or the community discovers it and casts them out. The system recalibrates.
That is the law of return. It is not a cosmic judge slamming a gavel and deciding to punish you. It is just cause and effect on a metaphysical structural level.
Wow.
Every choice you make radiates through the field of time and nature, shaping the environment that will eventually reflect that exact choice back to its source. Every single act of choice is described in the text as a Bayesian update in the consciousness of the universe.
Bayesian updating. Okay, let's avoid the dense statistical definition of that. It's essentially like adjusting your GPS while driving, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Every time you hit traffic or you take a wrong turn, the navigation system recalculates the best route based on the new data. So you are saying the universe is constantly recalculating itself based on our choices.
That is a highly accurate way to look at it.
Hmm.
Which is the totality of existence, is a self-learning system. It is constantly updating itself toward harmony based on the evidence of our actions.
Mm.
Your everyday choices are the data points.
Okay.
If you act with high coherence, kindness, honesty, structure, you increase the harmony of the whole system.
And if you act with incoherence, like if you lie, if you cause harm, you distort the field, and the GPS of the universe has to recalculate.
Yeah.
The system mechanically recalibrates through that karmic feedback, that law of return, to find equilibrium again. And you, as the person who caused the distortion, feel the friction of that recalibration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this framework doesn't destroy meaning, which is the massive fear many people have when you take away traditional religious structures.
Right. People think it's just going to be nihilism.
Exactly. But instead, it regrounds meaning into something tangible. It
Right.
says meaning isn't handed down from above. Meaning is the alignment of your localized awareness with the vast function of reality.
That is a really empowering way to look at it.
It makes you entirely responsible for your participation in the system.
Yeah.
It ends the need to fear supernatural wrath, and simultaneously, it ends your ability to blame an external devil for your mistakes.
It is a total paradigm shift. I mean, we've gone from a universe that is created by an outside force to a universe that is constantly forming through the union of time and nature.
Yeah.
We've seen how the only six forces everyone to acknowledge the inescapable existence of sequence and structure. And we've seen how God is reframed not as a person, but as the maximal coherence of reality itself.
It forces a remarkable level of intellectual honesty.
Mm.
You can no longer hide behind the veil of mystery. You have to cash out your beliefs into functional, observable mechanics.
Definitely. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the mechanics of existence, I really want to leave you, the listener, with a final provocative thought to mull over, something that builds on everything we've discussed today about time, nature, and your specific place within it.
Oh, this is the part about the soul, right?
Yes. So, quantum onlyism states that your soul is not some ghostly wisp placed into a body by an outside creator. Rather, your soul is a localized loop of this time and nature resonance.
The loop, right?
It is a specific, unique frequency of Fati and Mona. And your physical brain, your biology, is just the temporary hardware that this resonance uses to interface with the world.
Okay, so where does that leave us?
Well, if your memories, your personality quirks, and your daily habits are all tied to the biological hardware of your brain, but your actual soul seed is just the functional structural rhythm of time and nature constantly updating itself. When that biological hardware eventually breaks down at the end of your life, what exact part of you is actually making the return trip?
Wow. That raises such an important question about identity. It really is the ultimate question of coherence.
It really is. Something to think about the next time you find yourself arguing about the nature of reality. Make sure you know what floor you're standing on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.
What happens when a Christian preacher's son starts asking questions nobody wants answered? What if faith and science were never supposed to be enemies? This isn't another religious book, and it's not another angry attack on belief. This is a wake-up call. The Agnostic Guide to Faith, Science, and Sanity by A1 Richardson takes you on a mind-bending journey through scripture, psychology, science, energy, cause and effect, vibration, polarity, rhythm, and the universal law shaping your everyday life. Why do people sabotage themselves and blame God? Why do we ignore patterns then act shocked by consequences? Why are so many trapped doing what we call crazy work? This book challenges everything you thought you knew about spirituality, reality, and yourself. No fake certainty, no church cliches, no blind obedience. Just raw honesty, deep reflection, and practical wisdom for people caught between the pulpit, the laboratory, and real life. Whether you're deconstructing your faith, spiritually curious, tired of shallow answers, or searching for sanity in a chaotic world, this book was written for you. Read it with an open mind, read it with courage, read it before life forces you to learn the hard way. The Agnostic Guide to Faith, Science, and Sanity. Stop doing crazy work and wake up to the patterns shaping your life now.
Yeah. It's your boy Oli. And I'd like to thank y'all for joining today to watch. Until next time, I hope you all safe and coherent with your dealings in everyday walk of life. Until next time, stay coherent.
Yeah, different type of. Now everybody better listen up. Different type. Now everybody better listen up for my people in the struggle who never gave a what, even when life try to press you down. Turn your frown to a smile. I make style just to lift you up. I'm a different type of animal. Wait, different type of animal. 2 to succeed, easy to see. I'm a different type of animal. Different type of animal. No fur, no scale, just feathers on me. Different type of animal. Fly, yeah. Steady hustling, steady grinding. Getting money every time I put my time in. When they ask what I got up under my sleeve, they never gon' believe when I tell them it's all timing. Time. Everybody want a real life attitude. Incoherent, now they mad at you. Some people can't get it, now they laugh at you. Till they see the glow up, now they copying the altitude. I never was the type it was handed to. Had to put it together like mechanics do. Now you see I got the tools to succeed. Different mindset, different breed, different view. Every time I play a breed. Quantum thoughts, I evolve every week. Young Al, been wild since a young child. Still fresh to the death, no funeral style. How could you walk in my shoes? We run the town. Big shoes to fill. Never been a clown. I'm a different type of animal. Wait, different type of animal. 2 to succeed, easy to see. I'm a different type of animal. Different type of animal. No fur, no scale, just feathers on me. I'm a different type of animal. Talking about the block I've been around. Fighting through the hard times till it spin around. Game tight, move smooth, never hear sound. Big pressure every time we hit the town. Couldn't touch me with a yardstick. Running through the paper on that backyard business. Chasing dreams, chasing cream to the team. Rich 5'8", but I'm standing on that stand tall mindset. See these monkeys trying to pull me from the tree. Yeah, they pulled me down before that, just turned me to a beast. So I hopped into the street, showed the hungry how to eat. Oklahoma on my back, now I'm bringing pressure to the beat. Cold hard world, colder in the streets. Money on my mind, barely get to sleep. Dreams feel close, still feel out of reach. Lights up ahead, I just want a little piece. Still a student of the game, don't qualify to teach. Learn lessons every day, so I evolve every week. I'm not an animal, life just got wild. So I did what I had to do, the other routes was fine. No copy, no taste, you can't get my style. Hot on my sleeve, still walk with a smile. Judging me by my past, take a look at me now. I ain't doing this for me, I just wanna make my mama proud. Quantum onlyism truth, yeah, we bringing it out. While y'all watching me, better watch the crowd. Different type of animal. Wait, different type of animal. 2 to succeed, easy to see. I'm a different type of animal. Different type of animal. No fur, no scales, just feathers on me. Different type of animal. Different type of animal. Different type of animal. Different type of animal. Now everybody better.
Let's pause the noise for a second, because if you're still here right now, you're already different. Not everyone gets this. Not everyone understands real debate, real scholarship, real intellectual smoke. But you do. This is Coliseum of Arguments. This is Titans Debate League. And what happens here doesn't survive on algorithms. It survives on the people who believe in it. When you support through Cash App, you're not just donating. You're fueling the arena. You're the reason we can bring in high-level guests. You're the reason we keep unbiased judges. You're the reason these debates stay sharp, fair, and uncompromised. This platform is built by thinkers, sustained by supporters, protected by the ones who know value when they see it. If this show has ever sharpened your mind, has ever entertained you, or has ever challenged what you thought you knew, then Cash App is how you say, keep this going. Not everyone contributes, but the ones who do, they're part of what makes this real. Coliseum of Arguments, Titans Debate League, powered by the people who get it.
My heart is bleeding in a pool of blood, I'm drowning, yeah.